segment of RC analysis.
Round 9 takes us to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, where the Wall of Champions was born. Now, this is a very narrow track tonight. It's going to be a fun one. A lot of chicanes, a few straights. But man, it's going to be exciting. I think we're going to see a couple of penalties tonight. And of course, we have RC Action joining us in the booth. RC, how you doing tonight?
Frozen as always, it's another great day for racing.
It is a great day for racing. And I got to ask, so what difficulties do you think that these drivers are going to see tonight, and where will that be?
Honestly, it's going to be, we're going to have your certain turns like 13, 14. But I'm honestly looking more at the straightaway, because if you lose any part in the turns, you're going to lose that slipstream down the front stretch. There's 3 straights on this circuit. So if any turns that you mess up, you could possibly lose down the straightaway. So let's try to not to make those minor mistakes so we can make it a bigger picture at the end.
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be some issues that can happen. A lot of penalties will probably be given. I mean, some of these drivers are saying they had 20 second time penalty from last season. They're thinking it's going to be a little less this season, but yeah, with just how narrow this is, it's going to be a wild one tonight for sure. Evan, I see you out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wish you were out here on the track, but these guys have their hands full tonight.
Definitely. I mean, a 4.3 kilometer circuit in length. I mean, it's tight, narrow, but it's also a fun track. I mean, especially if you like some street circuits as such. But of course, you're always going to have your trouble turns within a street circuit, like turns 14 with the Wall of Champions, but also with some of the middle sector turns of like turns 8 and turns 9 can cause a little issue, especially if you can't get it slowed down. But the one thing I'm looking at, Frozen, is worn tires as well. Is you're going out there for so many laps, my tires were worn out and I'm starting to lose grip in my simulations that turn on lap 11. And this is a 35 lap race, so we can't really push it too hard on a track that's trying to make you push it really hard.
I agree. Yeah, some of these drivers are going to have to watch that tire wear, and it might creep up on them pretty quickly. We'll see what happens. 35 laps tonight. It's a pretty long track. We have the Wall of Champions, and can you tell us a little bit about that and how that name came about?
Well, the name that I couldn't really get into, but I can tell you about the Wall of Champions now. Wall of Champions, famous name, all that stuff. But to put it in NASCAR terminology, that's the type of turn that you don't want to hit. I mean, it's like, okay, Darlington, any bit of wall you get the Darlington stripe. Well, the Wall of Champions is your Darlington stripe. That's very famous for when you're going full out on the back stretch, and then you're trying to cut in, trying to make that left and then, or that right and then left-hand turn. Definitely some wins made by people hitting the wall over the years, and just different types of stuff coming off of those turns. So it's going to be very famous tonight, especially like I said with those tires wearing out. And something else to keep an eye on is the same issue that 46 had last week, which was ERS. There's 3 straightaways instead of 2 this week. So you're going to see a lot of ERS being used. So you're going to have to not only conserve the tires, but the ERS. Because if you don't have ERS and DRS when you're coming down one of the straightaways, you're not gaining any time. So I think we could possibly around right now, if I'm looking at the thing, looking at our qualifying, that 3rd through 4th is going to be a group. The 5th through 7th is going to be a group. We're going to see little strands of line racing.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's going to be a couple of different packs for sure. I want to go on board Mayor of Bag City. He is the fastest so far in qualifying. Minute 10.5, and he's got Ferrari Nut directly behind him. But we're going back through this straight, and here we go through 13 and 14, which he just passed and went into pits. But right there was right where the Wall of Champions are, and that came about in 99 because it's a site of infamous crashes, including 3 from the same race in 1999. It involved Michael Schumacher, Damon Hill, and Villeneuve in turn 13 and 14. And because they hit that curb just a certain way, they ended up going into the wall, all crashing in the same exact spot. So they did give that wall the nickname, the Wall of Champions, because they were champions, of course. So yeah, definitely something that these guys are going to have to watch, but there's a lot of chicanes in here that can claim some of these cars. So they will have to watch, and as RC has said, getting out of these exits and getting on the throttle as quickly as you can make up some time, and you can do some maneuvering and overtaking around some other cars. So we'll see how good these drivers are on that. But I want to go back. Maddie, what's up? How are you? Flubber on DVD. Let's see. Wall of Champions is named that because, yes, that is absolutely correct. Stacka, how are you? Our weatherman, Super David, he is also on track, sitting P10 currently with a 113.0. He says rain expected for the first 15 minutes after dry start, but dry the rest of the way. So we're going to see a little mixed bag of weather here. That'll be interesting. We saw a little bit of that a couple of races so far this season. I'm kind of curious how they will go out and what tires they'll choose. Let's see. Flubber on DVD, you better win. We got bills and kids to pay for. I made friends with one of the walls while practicing with Polish. You know, I didn't have an issue with the Wall of Champions. I can tell you that the issue that I had was more of 10 and 11, which is kind of weird because all these guys are doing great around it. And I do believe that is what they are going around right now. Yes, it is. I overdrove it almost every single time. So there you go. Stacka says, curious to see if running over orange on curbs is within the track limits allowed. That, I would have to ask, to be honest. I know a lot of these guys were saying that they do expect some penalties. RC, do you know if hitting the orange part will incur penalties after a few of them?
And it's FIA, it's not NASCAR. I mean, it's going to definitely be a whole lot strict on that. But the biggest thing that you'll have to focus on is making sure that your 4 tires aren't on or over the racing line. I think that's where we're going to have issues with is turns 3 and 4. And even turn 8 and 9, to be honest with you, because those are really tight turns that are going to have you right up on the curb. And if you do it just right, you can gain time on them. But if you do it just wrong, you're going to get warning. So just some of these curves, you have to do it right. And I think those are the 4 turns that can bite you if you don't get it right.
Yeah, we just saw Ferrari Nut go over 8 and 9, and he went through it perfectly fine. You can see the orange part that Stacka was talking about in chat. It's gonna be an issue. These guys are really gonna have to watch it, and the track is so incredibly narrow. I mean, there's not a lot of room for air, and there's walls on either side. So if you're trying to make a pass and you stick it into the corner a little too quickly, it could be trouble for a lot of these drivers. Ferrari Nut fastest in the track here, a 110.3. Mayor of Bag City, a 110.5, and it's Z46. A 110.6. So these drivers running times very, very similar to what we saw in practice, but Z has vastly improved his time. He was, I do believe, in the 112, so he has made it in the 110. So great job for him. Justin, he was pretty quick in practice. He had a 111.5, and he's out here with a 111.1. We'll see if he can keep that consistency.
You know, I love my little stats and statistics, so let's pull them out, shall we? And of course, for everybody, I get my statistics from different sources, including F1 website and all that other stuff. So let's get to it. A 4.3 circuit track today, an 80 kilometer per hour pit speed entry. Valtteri Bottas in 2019 got the fastest lap as a Mercedes driver with a 1:13.078. We might see that tonight. We'll see. As far as the shake and bake, we got 109.466, season 5 with Mayor of Bag City for qualifying. Don't know if we're going to be reaching that record tonight. And season 5 Rangers with the fastest with a 1:11.178. That's going to be interesting to keep an eye on, as we have the soft tire runoff of a 0.06 seconds. Now this is the fun part, Frozen, because when choosing tires, a 0.6 second for the soft tire, a 0.04 seconds for the medium, and the fastest is, the best tire is the hard. How many times you say that? A 0.03, and of course your green flag stops compared to your safety car. Your green lap runs, you're going to lose about 18 seconds on this track compared to your safety car, which is, well, safety car and virtual safety car, which is going to be 16 seconds. Let's see who can beat any records. Let's see, how many people stay penalty free, because of course penalties always ruin someone's day at some point in time. So who will ace this track? We'll find out.
You will find out, and take a look at Mayor of Bag City as he goes into pit. Now, if you notice, that is a straight line going into pit lane. Now, if you're going down this and you plan to go in and you are side by side or even relatively close to someone that is behind you, that could be another issue that we see tonight. These guys are going to have to get quickly on the brakes, and a lot of them are saying they cannot whoa it down fast enough to get into pits without a penalty. So that is another issue that they're going to have to run into, especially if they have someone behind them. So communication is going to be key as they try to make their way into pit lane. But you can see the weather is moving on in. We have some raindrops forming, and it's getting a little foggy out here as these drivers are out on track. But it's Z46. Fastest on the board, 1:10.100, with Kerr right behind, a 1:10.119. And Mayor of Bag City, a 1:10.2. Ferrari Nut in fourth with a 1:10.3. So we do have 4 drivers, all within 0.3 of a second. Absolutely incredible. A lot closer than what we saw in practice. I'm kind of curious if we will see that out on track, because times were very well separated in practice, but it looks in qualifying that they are extremely close. And Stacka says, I remember the intro on F1 Challenge. Despite being a dedicated motorsports facility, the barriers at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve lie very close to the track, giving the venue a distinct street feel. It's true. Definitely so. And man, we had a lot of penalties incurred last season. I think we might see the same this season. Last season, we saw Jacob win here. 2 seasons ago, we saw Kerr win. So I asked Jacob, I said, what do you think your chances are of a win here? And he laughed. And he's like, I got this in the bag. And they said, no, I'm just kidding. I don't think I'm winning this one tonight. So he went from confident to not very quickly.
Well, I know I had a great race last season, which never took place because I was too busy snoozing after work. So I unfortunately missed it. But watching back at it, it was a great race. But man, I wish I was there. But I had a fast car that week. But I think it's going to be another fast race and a quick race this week. It's just going to be coming down to how many safety cars we're going to get, and there's going to be, from my statistics, there'll be a 50% chance of it. So um, I'm looking at the back half of the field probably losing their tires and spinning out and causing a safety car of some sort. So it's all going to depend on who is going to keep their tires intact and all that.
I agree. Absolutely. And I don't know if you just caught that, but Leave Justin got a 5 grid penalty for contact with Hokie fan. Very interesting. So we'll see.
Already coming out strong.
Yeah. A couple of drivers. All right, I have a question. We got Sky, who is DSQ'd. Are we going to be able to get him in for the actual race, or does that count him out?
So DSQ, that means he probably did something that was got him disqualified from the qualifying session, and he'll probably be starting last for this race. So he probably accidentally clogged up pit lane or something like that. So we'll find out once everything gets sorted out in the race. But that's usually what that means, is he did something that he wasn't supposed to, and they just threw him out. So hopefully we do see him though.
Riley Bacon is on the board with a minute 13.1. He is a new driver, first time in here tonight. He is also one of 3 brothers in this race. We have Jacob X99 and JCX 1288, brothers for McLaren. Then Riley Bacon is the 3rd brother, and he will be for Red Bull tonight. So how about that? 3 brothers. 3 brothers out on the track at the same time. That'll be fun to watch. Jacob and JC always around each other. We'll see if that happens again tonight. But man, most of the drivers in pits, I'm kind of curious if they will come out again just at a minute left in qualifying. So time is quickly running out, but Riley Bacon still out on track, trying to improve that time as he makes his way into pits.
That'll pretty much do it. There's no way you can make it around the track in 50 or 44 seconds, so that'll do it for qualifying. So with a 110, 100, 46 is won his first pole. So that's great news for him after getting second last week.
Yeah, it was such a close race last week. He seems pretty confident for tonight. The rain might mix things up a bit. You can see it starting to come down a little bit harder. I don't think it's going to really affect anything at this point unless it increases for the race. But Polish says, messed up my first lap and then couldn't get back out for another one. So he will be starting 7th. See what happens here. But yeah, Justin, a 5-position penalty for him. Super unfortunate to see, but it's Z46 will be on pole. Great job to him. Kerr will be in second with a 110.119. Mayor of Bag City in third with a 110.2. Ferrari Nut in fourth with a 110.3. Justin incurs that penalty. Jacob will be in sixth. Polish Hammer in seventh. Hokie Fan in eighth. In ninth, we have JC. 10th is Rogue. 11th is Oh No, It's Shames. 12th is Sober David. Riley Bacon in 13th. Dion in 14th. And I know we have some more drivers, so let's see if we can scroll on down there. Scissor Blades in 15th, and Sky will be in 16th. And we're getting ready to do that formation lap there, RC.
Always important. There cannot emphasize that enough as the rain is coming down. This is the only thing that my simulations did not do Frozen, but I know it's still a hard track to deal with in the rain. So it's going to be a fun race regardless of rain or not. But at the end of the day, you're right there on the grid right now. You're in your car. You're going to go through your strategy. It's going to be, how am I going to get this start? How am I going to launch? Am I going to beat this guy? Which way is this guy going to go? Where is that guy going to go? A lot of things going through the minds of the drivers right now, just sitting there going through their tire their strategies. So a lot of strategy, a lot of qualifying has been already been finished. You just got turn one to go.
It'll be interesting to see, but we're going to start this prediction right here. Who will receive the most penalties? You guys have some minutes to get that going. We have it between It's Z46, Rogue 77, and Rattly Bacon 8220. Slurp, I see you out there curious about joining the league. We will have to see. I know we have a lot of seats taken out here. I'm not honestly sure if we have any left, but I'll check it out with the owner and see what we can find out for you.
So the intermediates has possible strategies throughout, so I'm taking it it's going to rain a lot.
You're saying maybe around 15 minutes, or maybe I misremember that, but you guys get the point. It is raining. It's going to be a little slick. We're on the intermediates. It's Z46. I'm kind of curious. He is a newer driver here. Has done an absolutely phenomenal job out here. And not all of his finishes show that. But he is very, very quick. I'm hoping he does well here tonight. We'll see how he handles the rain at the start, along with the rest of these drivers. But man, we have It's Z out front. Kerr, Mayer, Ferrari Nut, Jacob, Polish, all of these guys, extremely fast drivers. It's going to be a fun one. It's always been fun the last several seasons, so I'm excited to see it go down, RC.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, but I'm just sitting here thinking, you know, if I'm 46, I got my first pole in the dry, and now here it is raining. That's all I'm thinking about, because it's like, well, I got these guys on the dry tires, but it's raining. Also, rain, also known as great equalizer. So we'll see how this start goes and the race goes for him.
See how it goes, but we're waiting for the lights here at the Canadian GP. 35 laps in Slurp. Yeah, we have a couple of drivers that are out tonight. So usually at this point we would have 20 in here, but a couple could not join. But here goes the lights, and we're waiting for them to go out in the rain here at the Canadian Grand Prix, and we are off to the start. It's Z46, doesn't get the best start. Kerr's going to go out front. Ferrari not going to gain a spot, and take a look at this as we're making our way around the first chicane. RC, the first couple of corners are always crazy. These guys got through it relatively pain-free.
Yeah, but it's get really tight through there, through turns 3, so everyone's going to have to play along, which they pretty much do. You do have, so over David, who did get off the track, or sorry, Rogue, actually, who went off the track, and he lost his front wing. So he's going to have to limp around the entirety of the track to get his ring replaced.
Yeah, we have him on the list for the most penalties. So far, you guys have voted for him. Get those votes in. I told him, I said, you are on the list, and he said, gee, thanks, Frozen. We love you, Rogue, but yeah, penalties will be handed out quite a bit tonight. You can see Kerr having a great sector, too. The fastest so far, so we'll see what happens, but he is currently in the lead. Won here 2 seasons ago, looking to make another, and he does have a win. Won 2 weeks ago at Coda. He's looking for another tonight.
Beautiful line going through the turns 13 and 14, Frozen. Another reason why I like this type of racing is they can make pretty much any turn look absolutely beautiful. And we're seeing another bit of that right now. Skyline is also in the pits for front wing damage as well. So I'm saying Rogue and Skyline probably got into it there in turn 3 and 4.
Fortunate to see, as we have 2 drivers in pit lane, Skyline and Rogue, but take a look at this top 4 right on top of each other. Kerr out in the lead, Z46 in second. Ferrari Nut, who told me, you know what, I'm going to be on a different kind of strategy. It's going to be unconventional, so take a look. I'm kind of curious, though, with this rain in tow, will that change his strategy? Or once it dries out, will he be able to get back on the strategy he was hoping for? Mayer is in the back of this pack. We have Polish Hammer leading this next part. He did have Jacob out in front of him, but made that pass. But take a look at this. Yeah, they're recommending intermediates this whole time tonight.
Yeah, which is always interesting. And as I'm sitting here, I'm looking at pretty much as far as I have predicted so far early in this race. You got your little groups forming. There's also this little group in the back I'm going to keep an eye on for 11th place. These three drivers back here of David, Bacon, and Shames. Shames loses another position. Lost 2 in the one lap here that we're going through. But that's going to be a little battle that I'm going to keep my eye on through the rest of the race, Frozen, even though it's 11th place. So leave Justin, something happened.
Virtual safety car, and
Spun
he
it.
is dropping here. No front wing. So damage incurred for him. He's going to have to definitely go in to repair that damage. Dion, let's see. He seems to be okay. It's kind of hard to tell with all the rain happening, but man, oh man. Our first virtual safety car is going to be lap 3 of 35. The night is young. No penalties on the board just yet, but remember, Justin started off with a 5 grid penalty for contact with Hokie, so not a great start for Justin so far.
Only going to be a 16-second loss if you go down to pit, so I don't think anybody's really going to pit seeing this lap 3 other than Justin himself. So I don't think he's necessarily going to be all the way in the back because there's Bacon's out.
They lost man, one of the three brothers, Rally Bacon, is already out of the race. Lap 3, we are under virtual safety car. Really unfortunate to see here, but I would say this is a very tough race to make it your first race in the season with a group of guys that you do not race with. So props to him for coming out here. Really unfortunate to see it, though.
That happened somewhere between 9 and 10, Frozen. I don't know exactly where, but it was in between those two turns. I was watching Rogue go through it, and he passed him through that section of the track. So whatever happened, it happened in turns 9 and 10, but it's going to, well, it's not going to get everybody back together like a safety car would, but we're pretty much close as it is Scissor Blades is going to get a drive-through penalty for speeding under VSC.
And here the penalties start to come, and Travis
And he's
Jack,
out.
who is Rally Bacon, says, why did it have to rain my first race? I was just talking about it, saying, what a first race to
Safety
have.
car out.
Yeah, Scissor Blades is a DNF. We have Riley Bacon out, but a tough race to make it your first one. We have quite a bit of rain at this point. First race with everyone. And then we have a Jacob with a drive-through penalty speeding under safety car. I talked about this earlier. Definitely difficult to get it woed down as you're trying to enter pit lane, especially with cars around you. Something that these drivers are going to have to deal with, and safety car is out now.
So 3 cars, Ferrari Mayor, Jacob in the pit. Ferrari actually getting a new wing, so that's interesting. Don't know what happened there, but he's getting himself a new front wing, so I'm wondering if one of the turns got some of these guys together and we missed it.
It's so
But
easy to miss
everybody
things.
seems to be back out.
Yeah, they are back out. We have about 3 drivers still on their way out from pits. Jacob, here we go. Jacob with that penalty. Sober David in the pits. Skylan, he's boxing currently. Now that it is raining like that, I'm like, yeah, no thanks. Yeah, Maddie, difficult. Very difficult to have rain. Ironically enough, a couple of drivers were saying, you know what, I hope it does rain. I'm confident in the rain. I feel great in the rain. So they were hoping it actually started off in rain and they could make their way up there and do what they needed to do. But Kerr, he was strong right out of the gate. And with a win here 2 seasons ago, even with the rain, I mean, he's looking pretty good. So I think he's going to have a great race. Lap 5 of 35. Hopefully we come back next time around.
Polish is still catching up there in 6th. Ferrari not right behind him. Dion's next in line, but he's way far off. Then it's Shames in 10th. It's going to be another lap, maybe a lap and a half before they get back to green right now, but the way everybody's spread out. But you come off of a virtual safety car just to go into a safety car. How does that happen?
Right? I really want those replays. I'm telling you, you can't be everywhere all at once. So, come on, EA. Give us those replays. You've never raced in the rain until now. You know what? That's crazy. Like I said, before I even knew that, to come out here with this, and it's a tough track, very narrow track, not a lot of room for error, and then it rains on top of it, and it's your first race with everyone. That's crazy. It's bound to happen. It is bound to happen. Rip the Band-Aid off. You just did it. All right.
So this is just how my brain works, Frozen.
Yes.
But I noticed that there's no spray coming off the safety car. That's not legit EA, okay?
All the other cars do, but that is just spray-free, and we're
no.
clean as can be. Mr. Clean out there, riding in the front. I was hoping that we'd be able to go back to racing this time around, but we do still have a couple of cars out there trying to catch up. That's going to be Skylin and Rogue. Do you think they will be able to go back to racing this time?
I think they will. I mean, there's only 2 cars left. They really haven't caught up to the pack, and they're just right around the corner. So I say by the end of Sector 2, they'll be back into racing mode.
Fair enough. Scarface, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Oh, man. Quite the race here at the Canadian Grand Prix. We're in here for round 9. And it is raining. It's narrow. We have chicanes. Take a look at this line in the chicane. This is the first and second corner in the track. Wild start for sure.
It
Not
gets really
going
tight
back yet.
in turns 3 and 4.
It most certainly is. And I know you've talked about this as a trouble spot, and it's just so fun to watch some of these drivers just absolutely fling it through there. We were talking to Ferrari Nut in chat, and he was saying, you know what? You can drive pretty hard. He was talking about qualifying, saying you can drive pretty hard through this section. The tire wear won't be as bad since you won't have many laps on it. So it's very interesting to watch them fly through there in qualifying. Just so talented, a lot of these drivers. Repeat, how are ya? Hope you're doing well. What's up? Jedi reflexes, right? We've already lost 2 drivers, Scissor Blades and Riley Bacon. Pete, I don't know if you know, but Riley Bacon is one of the 3 brothers that are in here, or were in here. Safety car in this lap, but Riley Bacon is brother for Jacob and JCX. Unfortunately, we only have 2 brothers left out on track. All right. Going back to racing, lap 8 of 35, still a ton left, and kind of wondering if we're going to see the sun come out a little bit, the rain fall off. That'd be nice.
We'll have to see. Unfortunately, we ain't got no weather forecast information here in our spectator mode. Unfortunately, that's something else I need to add and start making a list of the stuff before I forget. But we going back racing as Kerr gets a good gap from 46 to go into turn 1.
He's got a good gap. It is Z46 is closing that quickly. Pokey fan, take a look at this. Up to 3rd. Mayor of Bag City in 4th, and these guys are on top of each other. JC really testing those boundaries. Might have got a warning right there. He's got a slow up. Polish Hammer is going to be able to take advantage of that and make a pass. That's going to be for P5. Ferrari Nut sitting in 7th, and he is one of 4 in this group. And take a look. Some of these camera angles I absolutely love. just the lines they run, and Ferrari not going to go on the inside for that pass as they head into the corner. Take a look at that line all over the orange part, past those curbs. Aw, man, some of these lines, insane.
To the inside, do we get a little flipperoo here? Guess he's not going to have it. As he turns into the wall.
Oh, hard into the wall, Jacob. Our winner last season here at Canadian Tire. He's gonna have to go in and possibly get that repaired. Does he have damage on there? I can't even see.
He sure does. Front wings completely off of that McLaren.
So unfortunate. Man, oh man, he's still in the race though. He still has a penalty. You can see him gingerly making his way, trying to make it into pit lane, not to incur another penalty. Unfortunately, he's gonna have to fix that as we are under another virtual safety car, and it's only lap 9, you guys. Maddie, oh no, brother number 2 is down. He's down, but he's not out.
Fortunately, we're already at three cautions at this point, full course, and the rain's not going to stop anytime soon as far as what I'm seeing here. So unfortunately, we're going to probably get a lot more of what Jacob just had a good tasteful of, especially in some of those turns. But it sucks to see, as Kerr has a penalty, drive through for safety VSC speeding. Gotta love it.
Just so unfortunate to see. And I was looking back and it said, David said the first 15 minutes will be in the rain and then it will dry out. He says take it with a grain of salt because last week, whatever it said, is wrong. So we'll see how that goes. But Kerr with a penalty, Hokie fan with a penalty, Jacob with a penalty. It's Z46 in the lead, Mayer with a penalty. We are handing these penalties out like candy. Second and third with the penalty, and it's Z46. He's gotten a few penalties in past races, so we'll see if he incurs any tonight. But he's got Kerr all over the rear end here, along with Mayor of Bag City. So let's go on board with Mayor of Bag City. Take a look at what he's seeing. Imagine.
Well.
Imagine how difficult it is to try to take your line as someone else is driving the same as you. And you also have that spray that is happening directly in front. That can definitely mess with your perception and where you need to brake, where you need to get on the throttle. So that's definitely added difficulty to this race. And it is already difficult with how narrow and a lot of these chicanes here. So again, these guys are doing a good job, but a couple of drivers did fix up those penalties and serve them. Kerr and Mayer, they're still out here with those penalties.
But unfortunately, he's 23-some seconds back, so that's going to hurt him unless there's another safety car. Mayer past Kerr, because Kerr's going into the pits.
Yeah. Goes into pits. Mayer moves to second. Ferrari Nut gains several spots. He's already up to P3. Polish Hammer in fourth. Leave Justin. He's had a couple of penalties, even into qualifying. A 5 grid penalty, then a penalty. Then he had an incident at the start where he lost his wing. He's up to P5. JC in 6th. Skyland in 7th. Kerr, who went into pit, he's come out and he's currently sitting 8th. Dion in 9th, and Sober David, he's going to round out that top 10. Rogue just 0.6 behind. Oh no, it's Shames.
I don't know if, well, Ferrari and Polish are going to have to work together to make up that little gap, because at this track frozen, any little gap can turn into a huge gap. So for Polish and Ferrari, they need to really slipstream each other, try not to fight each other for too long for position, and hope the first two screw up a couple of turns in order to really catch up to them.
Now look at this as they are going through that chicane past the start finish line. Mayor of Bag City, 120.8 is going to be the fastest of the laps here tonight. Man, so incredibly close though. Dion with a 5-second penalty. Rogue with another 3 seconds. We're going to have Dion pit. I don't think this is going to be the only virtual safety car that we're going to see tonight. We're going to see a couple of these.
A little back end slip for Mayer. Fortunately, he didn't lose too much time, but as I keep saying, a little bit of lost time is a whole lot on this track.
Travis says, for real, those raindrops are a problem. And I'm telling you, it's so difficult to see while you have that spray happening in front. You want to make those moves. You want to put the pressure on it. Mayer is most certainly putting the pressure on Z46. But think about this. You have to know when that person in front of you is going to brake, when they're going to get on the throttle. What moves are they going to make, and when are they going to make them? And you have to do that in the rain when you can't see as well as you could on a clear day. So these drivers have an uphill battle to climb as they're trying to make their way through. But Mayor of Bag City trying to look like he was trying to take a peek, trying to make his way around, unable to do so as they make it for the first couple of corners here in the chicane. You can see these guys taking it very, very easy going through that. Mayer gets a great exit, but unfortunately another chicane is going to slow that down. He corrects it, almost completely loses it, and he's going to lose a spot to Ferrari Nut. Fantastic save, though, by Mayer.
Unfortunately, lost the position in that little lost tire car track part, and this is why they call it the great equalizer. Frozen rain. Try to get too aggressive, you get bit by the rain. And unfortunately, that's the case for our good friend Mayer.
He's got Polish Hammer just half a second behind him. He's able to capitalize on the mistake of Mayer that he had earlier on. But take a look at these drivers. I mean, they are definitely going through here a lot more gingerly than they would on a clear day. And this shows no signs of clearing out anytime soon. Kind of curious, lap 13 of 35. Will we see that happen? And how is that going to affect how they drive? I mean, you have to switch gears completely from rain to dry.
Pass for the lead. 46 just got enough off the straightaway. Got to make this count right here. Turn 3.
Remember last week we saw a heck of a battle between these two going to the finish. And it's Z46 takes back that lead. Ferrari Nut is not going to stand for that. He is going to absolutely pressure Z46 into hopefully what he thinks is going to be a mistake. Mayor of Bag City, he is back from his mistake, and he is all over that. Has to take it wide. That is most definitely going to be a warning, if not a penalty. Man, oh man, loses a couple of spots from that. A spot, I should say.
Touching tires. Ferrari goes deep.
Take a look at these two side by side. Contact between the two. They are keeping it pretty darn clean considering the circumstances, but Ferrari not in that lead. It's Z46, 0.2, 0.3 behind as they enter that very sharp corner. Onto the straightaway here. Quick straightaway, a hard left and a right. And this is a spot you were saying that if you can get a good exit, you might be able to make something happen as you head into the next one. But Z46 unable to get the exit that he needs as he heads into the chicane.
So this is something that I'm going to be taking putting an eye on, Frozen. If you go onto one of the cars, let's just say Ferrari Nut, and you go on the TV cam for a second, you see where it has his gears and he's shifting up, right? And under that, it's right now he's in overtake. He's not putting any ERS in. But that little yellow bar right up and under that is how much ERS he has. And unfortunately, at this point in the race, Frozen, 46 has more ERS than Ferrari Nut. A different, absolutely, completely different situation from last week. So if 46 can get right back up on him here at the closing laps, it might be the reverse of what we had last week.
All right, so for those who are new to F1, explain to us a little bit about the ERS.
The energy recovery system. It gives you more boost in wherever you really need it, but it's only got a certain amount of charge. And as long as it's not being deployed, you can recharge it. But unfortunately, with these cars, they recharge very slowly. So every time you use them, you don't want to use it too long because you want to make it to the end. And going back to last week's race, 46 just did not have enough ERS to pass Ferrari into the last corner the way that he could if he had more. So ERS is very important. We can use it in the rain, obviously. It's the DRS that you can't use in the rain. So there's obvious differences between those two systems. But ERS is very, very important to maintain. So not only do you have your speed limit when you're going into pits, your tires, all of that other stuff, but you also have to worry about that ERS system and making sure that you have enough to make it to the end.
Yeah, definitely a strategy that you have to think about throughout your race. And Dion just made up a spot going into P12 past Rogue. Jacob, who was 10 seconds behind, he has caught up to just 3.5 behind Rogue. So we'll see if he can't make up some spots. So unfortunate to see. He was so extremely strong last season. I know this season has been a little bit different for him. He's had some unfortunate luck, and tonight, man, you just hate to see it for him. But Ferrari not in that lead. It's Z46 has fallen back to almost 3 seconds behind. Meanwhile, Mayor of Bag City is just 0.9 behind It's Z46. Polish Hammer, 0.7 behind. So these guys are very much close and could be battling for that second spot.
Got one Ferrari knocking on the door of a Williams car. You have a Williams car knocking on both a Williams and a Ferrari, which he drove a little deep there, but he can recover that easily. And then you got a Mercedes knocking on a Ferrari door farther on back. So if you haven't caught up yet, that's pretty much a Mercedes, Ferrari, and a Williams battles going on throughout the field. These pit stops are going to make a whole lot of difference because there's a lot of people who haven't pitted Frozen. So, like I said, an 18-second loss in time when you pit under green. So we'll see how spread out they get before they get to the pit stops. But right now, looks like everybody's going to end up being passing. Well, looking down, maybe other than I think Rogue. I think Rogue is going to be the only driver who won't be able to pass anybody coming who's going to be on the pits.
Couple more drivers with a penalty. We have Rogue with 6, Dion with 8, JC just got a 5-second penalty. Mayor of Bag City with that 3-second penalty, and Kerr, he was catching up to Skyland. We'll see if he can't make up some time, but JC currently sitting 10th, and Jacob, his teammate, out there P12. But it's Z46. He has yet to go in to make a pit stop. He is the only one out of the top 5 and 6 drivers. Kerr will be the next one that has not made a stop yet. So we'll see if they come in. But Mayor of Bag City going to get a 3-second time penalty for that. That is 6 seconds for him. I'll be honest. We have had a couple of drivers get penalties and go in to serve it. but I thought we would have a little bit more penalties on the board, RC.
Well, right now everybody is playing the track to the where it is because right now it's not super fast go track mode right now. It's raining, we're tiptoeing. So with that said, I see right now there's a lot of penalties for that. But as far as these serve penalties and non-serve penalties, it will come back to bite them. Now, if you're mayor, you'll have to go in under green flag conditions to serve that penalty, or you can hold off until the end of the race. I mean, it's completely his option. He can choose whatever, but if he stays in a battle like this, I want to go ahead and serve it now. But if it dries up like it says it's going to, then we'll probably see way more, seeing that we'll be going at faster speeds.
Bird just made a pass over Hokie Fan, and he is looking to make a pass over Sober David heading into this tight hairpin corner, and he gets it done, and the fastest sector out there. Man, absolutely insane. Here we go down the front stretch here. Gonna hit another chicane, and that is gonna be the Wall of Champions. As we make our way through here, you can see these guys trying to make their way on through. Definitely not driving it as hard as they would in the clear conditions, but doing a phenomenal job. Lap 20 of 35. Let's go through this. Ferrari Nut still in the lead. He is absolutely putting a huge gap over the field. He's got 5.5 seconds over Z46. Meanwhile, Mayor of Bag City 0.6 behind, but he also has that 6-second penalty. So if I'm Z46, if Mayor wants to pass me, I just might let him if I think I'm fast enough to just keep up with him. He's got a 6-second penalty that will not hurt Z46 at this point. He looks fast, but Mayor, he might be looking to pass here in a second. With a 3-second
penalty for multiple warnings.
Yeah. Another one on the board. You can tell he's just trying to make up time, and unfortunately that's going to add to mistakes that can be made, and he's got that 3-second time penalty, and he's almost 14 seconds behind Skyland, so that is a wide distance.
Looking at the tires, you got 16 laps for P1, P3, P4. You got 20 lap old tires on 46. And like I said before, it's a 18-second loss in the pits. So my thing would be is, would I let him go? Because I know I got a pit coming up, but I'm also losing time to Ferrari Nut. So what's my play here? I'm thinking, try to hold your guys off more and hope for a safety car to try to bunch everybody back up.
Oh, man,
that's what I would be wanting if I was 46.
Yeah, he is the only one that has yet to make a stop, and Mayor is still behind him. I'm kind of curious if he's being patient or if he's kind of losing that patience with him and wanting to make that pass soon. We'll see. But I'm kind of curious if Z46 will come in. Yeah, we got Mayor who is coming in and Polish who is coming in. Surprisingly enough, Z46, he stays out.
He probably will this time by. There's no doubt that you don't want to double stack for Williams. So at least one of them came down and one stayed out. So that was the good news. Because you definitely lose a lot more time when you double stack. So it's overall a good play for the Williams team that one of them stayed out, one of them stayed in the race. Just which one? Now that could be up for debate, but for Williams' team in general, it was a good call.
Good call, and Kerr had another fastest lap as he is trying as hard as he can to make up some positions. And speaking of positions, Justin making up 7 positions from where he started after that grid penalty in qualifying. So a great run for him tonight. I mean, he was incredibly strong in practice, had one of the fastest times out there. So great run for him. Let's take a look. It's Z46. Still out there. Will he come in this time? We'll find out in a second.
Unfortunately, not. So a 7-second gap is still between him and Ferrari. I can only imagine that getting bigger unless Ferrari pits soon. But I'm looking at the leader intervals frozen, and it's very interesting. You got 7 seconds between the leader and 46, and then it opens up to a 21-second lead between the leader and Leaf Justin. So you can obviously tell who's the faster race drivers today, and where everybody should come out as far as pit stops go. But interesting intervals here, so that's for sure.
No doubt. We have some switching of positions between Hokie Fan and Jacob, and Hokie incurs a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Jacob is behind him, and he does not have any warnings at this moment. We'll see if that changes. But Justin gets passed by Mayor of Bag City, so Mayor's going to move up to third, Justin down to fourth. Robby Nut, though, he's got 4 wins this season. He just won last week at the Chinese Grand Prix. So if he goes tonight, he's going to go back-to-back wins. Dion with a 3-second time penalty. That is 11 seconds on the board for him in Rogue. How about that? We had him in the most penalty category here, and he's only got 6 right now, knock on wood.
Getting through. Okay, so only 2 cars are a lap down at the moment as Mayor. And as soon as say something Polish, that's the fastest lap. A 1:26.22. So new tires are definitely coming into play. The only question is, can Polish and Mayor make up enough time for when Ferrari pits, or if he pits, they can pass him when he's pitting. We'll find out. But that gap for 46 has opened up to 9.2. So it's time to start calling it to come in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he's still at, I'll be honest. That's crazy, but that gap is increasing, and Ferrari is just getting away. Bloomy, what's up? We're missing you out here. The race was already supposed to be dry, I'll be honest. It is not dry yet. I don't know if it will ever be dry at this point. Lap 24 of 35. Crazy. Absolutely crazy, but Ferrari Nut is so strong out here. He said he had some kind of strategy. I have to think that that has not come into play since this rain is happening. We were definitely only expecting it for around 15 minutes, and that has changed, and Kerr has incurred another penalty. That is going to be 6 seconds for him. Mayor of Bag City, on the other hand, fastest lap, 1:20.3, and he currently sits P3.
I got the lovely glitch of a vibrating controller when I'm spectating. And there's something interesting that I'm noticing. I mean, Ferrari's locking it up, but when it comes to turns 13 and 14, it seems like he's trying to slide the car through the turns. Kind of like a drifting type of emotion is what I'm feeling in the controller. Because it's not. He's hard on the brake, but he's also trying to steer it and not lose it at the same time. It's kind of interesting. We'll have to see what he was doing there, but whatever he's doing, it's making time.
It is making time, and he makes it through there just fine. But Mayor of Bag City, another penalty that's going to be 9 seconds for him. The most on the board currently. Man, oh man. He is now 8.7 behind, and Z46, I mean, he is still out here. The oldest tires, Ferrari Nut is going to be the second oldest with 21 laps. When will Z46 come in? I mean, I feel like this guy is out here for the long haul. He's got to make it stop, though, right? I would imagine.
If he's played his tire cards right, he probably won't have to. I mean, he has a what, a 10-second gap, an 8-second, whatever it is to Mayer. But
That
I'm
doesn't even
telling
count
you,
penalties.
yeah. And then even that, you got Frozen, which is 20 seconds off the leader. So the interesting part about it is he can pretty much just keep going all he wants as long as he doesn't lose too much time to Polish. I'm not so worried about Mayer. I'd be worried about Polish instead. So he just got to keep it clean if he wants to stay out on the same set of tires.
And how long do you think these tires can last out here? Can they last the whole time if you do save them properly? How much time do you think you'll lose?
There'll be, I wouldn't say a big gap from when you put them on to compared to 20 some laps into the race. But I mean, if you just nurture them throughout these corners, not push the car too much, putting some load into those tires, they're like the hards, but only for wet weather, which is, hey, you can take them to the end. I mean, on some tracks, you can take hards to 20, 25 laps, depending on what track it is. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's probably, I would want to say 45, 50% used tires right now, which is big for F1 standards, but for a racer who can actually take care of those tires, it's not a huge deal coming from someone who can save those tires and run 28 laps. Actually, I got the performance up here on the thing. He's got 62 on the left rear. He's got 61% on the right rear and 40s on the front end. So the front ends are looking pretty good, but the back ends are wearing out on that Williams machine.
See if he comes in soon. Time will tell for sure. But these guys are starting to get really spread out, and just when you think the rain is gonna clear out, man, it just keeps coming. So lap 28 of 35. We have several more laps to go, but man, this race is quickly finishing up here. But Z46 almost 13 seconds behind Ferrari Nut. Ferrari Nut with the second oldest tires out here. Z46 with the oldest. Mayor of Bag City looking very, very fast out there. But he's got that 9 seconds in penalties. Polish Hammer, he's about 2.8 behind. No penalties for him, and he is within that 9 seconds. So technically, if the race were to end now, he would be P3.
And that would be a Williams 2-3 on a podium slot. So Polish really needs to keep up with him. Maybe even try to pass him. I don't know. He might have enough time to get up there to him. He just got to hit those turns perfectly and have enough straightaway speed. But
I want to take a look at the points. We haven't looked at the points yet tonight. Ferrari Nut, he is in the lead. We are, aren't we? He's in the lead with 169 points. Meanwhile, take a look at the battle for second and third. Kerr is out there with 130, with Mayor of Bag City 127, just 3 points away from each other. That could change at any minute, any race. So we have Polish Hammer. He's going to be in fourth with 109 points, a little bit behind Mayor. So we'll see what happens with that. And then fifth, another pretty big gap. It's going to be JC with 56. And he's going to be battling it out with his teammate Jacob at 45. So some of these battles are very, very close. Justin and Z46, extremely close. And also Hokey Fan and Skyland. This could be another battle brewing up here.
Just one lap down car in between Mayer and 46. Of course, that's not really going to play a huge deal into this game because, well, Dion's ghosted out. Unfortunately, I would love to see how that battle would have turned out if he wasn't, but let me see. Polish ain't that far behind. He has one lap car between him and Mayer. I think 46 will get that second spot regardless if Mayer passes him. Just right now, I mean, you got about 6 laps left or so. 5, 6 laps left or so. So the thing is going to be, as here comes
Oh,
Mayer. Don't know what he was looking at there.
he was looking at making
He
some
backed
room
out.
possibly where it was not happening. Dion with a 3-second time penalty, but Mayer's definitely trying to get past Z46 at this moment. We'll see if he can't make it happen, but man, that battle is brewing up. Here he goes to the inside. Unable to make that happen once again. He's getting antsy, RC. This is where some more penalties might come in store for him. He's going to be on the outside here, unable to make that. That is a difficult corner to make. He's going to go super wide contact with the wall. Man.
That was 46 old tires right there.
Look at this battle.
No ERS for that Ferrari, which sucks if you're that Ferrari because there's no way. Well, I mean, he's got old tires on. I get that part. But ERS is so important on this racetrack. And when we go back down the straightaway, and if Mayer can't catch him and pass him, you'll see why, Frozen. Because if you ain't got enough on that long straightaway to pass, even on someone who's got older tires, that should tell you how important ERS is.
I gotta say, if I'm Z46, I'm gonna let him pass. He's got the worn tires. You can clearly see Mayer is just getting impatient with this. I would be too. He wants to get that position, and he has to put a 9-second gap over him. So I'm letting him go. I'm letting him go and saying it's not worth it. I'm just going to keep up with you. You have the fresher tires, and I'm just going to try to keep it within that 9 seconds so I can secure second place here tonight.
Really helped out during that whole battle was the fact that Polish was able to get closer to that battle. But unfortunately now for 46 is Mayer's past you, and now you got your teammate who doesn't have any penalties on him. Will he get past you as well? I think that's going to be interesting. So if I'm team leader, I'd be like, hey, 46, you got old tires there. You might want to let your buddy through so he can try to catch up to second, or if not, just sit there and just race one another cleanly. But I'm not going to sleep on that Ferrari that's right behind them either. But we'll see how this plays out.
Oh, absolutely. And what's funny is that Z46, we've seen pretty much everything from him. I mean, the first race he came in, I do believe something happened where he didn't have a setup or didn't get the fuel strategy down correctly. So he's always had something to contend with. Tonight, it's no stop here, and he's going to get his first penalty, 3-second time penalty for 46. Unfortunate to see, and that is going to help out his teammate in the Williams team for Polish Hammer. He automatically is going to take over, possibly get a P2 if it ends like this. Oh no, it's Shames, 3-second time penalty for him. So Mayor Bag City, 9-second penalty. Z46, 3-second. Kerr still has those 6 seconds. Hokey Fan, 3. Oh no, it's Shames, 3. Dion, 12. And Rogue has 6. And Z46, I still blows me away that he has not made a stop yet. We have drivers out there with 2. Skyland has 3 stops. Z46, none.
And with it being lap 33 of 35, I don't think he's going to stop now.
No, there's
So
no
he's
way that
definitely
I'm doing
going
this
35
now.
laps.
Yeah, I have my teammate right behind me. I need to get everything I can. I have a penalty in tow at this point. I'm staying out. There's no way I'm going in.
Oh!
Oh! Wow. Man, this changes everything. Z46 gonna lose a spot. He's still got time between him and Sky, but not a lot of it. Let's take a look behind him.
Wing is safe. Wing is safe. So he's
Wing
good
is
there,
safe, but
there's
Z
a
has got to
3-second.
be so frustrated. an absolute heartbreaker for him. I'm kind of curious, team communications right now, that is between teammates. You know, it was accidental, but Polish, he's got no penalty. So he is moving on through. We'll probably end up with P2 tonight. We're on lap 34 of 35. Ferrari Nut sitting pretty out here in the lead with a 17-second gap over second, which is Mayor of Bag City, but he's got a 9-second penalty. This is crazy, RC.
Yes. It's going to come down to Skyline, actually, because you're going to have a 9-second penalty for Mayor. That will drop him out of the top 3, but it's going to drop 46 out of the top 3 because he's not in third right now, and he has Skyline right on top of him. And Kerr,
he's
for
got
that
Kerr.
matter. So
yeah, this is a very crowded track. Kerr almost loses it. You can see him just fishtailing back and forth, and he does a fantastic job saving it, but it's going to cost him a little bit of time. But here he is back again. Going to put the pressure on Skyline, who is putting the pressure on the car directly in front of him. Yeah, there they go, past. See if they can make it up there, but Kerr is trying to make that pass. Not going to be able to do it through the chicane.
Third.
Here we go. Going to be on the inside. Will Kerr be able to make it stick? He's going to take that position, moves up to P5, Sky into 6. Meanwhile, it's got Z46 10.7 seconds ahead. So, that's 10.6 behind Polish. So, yeah, he does have Z46 directly ahead of him, right?
Yeah, and unfortunately...
Ooh, a little bit of contact into that wall. No damage, but this is the final lap. Let's take a look at where Ferrari is. Sector 2 for him. Lost a little bit of time to Mayer, but I mean, it does not matter at this point unless he just absolutely bends it. We'll see. Wall of Champions is still a thing, and it's still available to crash in.
Or made that pass over 46. Now 46 has got to worry about that Ferrari on him. If it doesn't really even matter because he's got that 3-second penalty. So he's going to fall. Then the question becomes, will 46 fall to Leaf? Justin.
Let's bring Ferrari Nut home. He's coming down the front stretch here over the start-finish line. He's going to win the Canadian Grand Prix. Huge congratulations. That's going to be his 5th win of the season. He goes back-to-back last week at China, tonight at Canada. Huge congratulations to him, Mayor of Bag City. He may cross the line in second, but he does have 9 seconds in penalty. Polish Hammer will take over that second spot. Mayor of Bag City is going to fall to P3. Kerr made up some spots in the finish there. He's going to be 4th. Great job to him. Justin, 3-second time penalty. We have Z46, who had such a strong race. He's going to fall to 6 after some contact, spun out. No damage for him, but yeah, P6 for him. Justin is 7th. Pokey Fan looks like he's going to finish out in 8th here. Let's get these drivers into Discord.
Fucking
That
GG's.
glitch happened again.
All right, we have Ferrari Nut out here. Man, what a race. Just absolute dominant performance once again. 5th race of the season, 5th win of the season, Ferrari Nut. I know you warned me about a different strategy tonight. I'm guessing that didn't get to be played out considering rain happened.
No, that kind of threw that out the window. So at that point, it was just don't crash into somebody, don't crash the car, which I almost failed at doing on the opening lap. And then just wait for people to make mistakes, which around here is pretty easy to do.
You had the second oldest tires out there. Considering how were they, considering how old they were they worn enough? Were you concerned or just doing your own thing?
At the end, I was at 71%, so I was starting to get a little worried. It was definitely taking it easy out of those low speed corners like the hairpin to just not spin it up and not generate any excess tire wear.
Absolutely. You did a phenomenal job tonight. 5th race win of the season. A huge congratulations for AlphaTauri. Man, oh man. In the rain, did it come out how you expected? I know it's different than the clear conditions. Was it harder, or I know some drivers were kind of hoping it was going to rain.
I never shy away from it raining. It always just kind of brings out that consistency in me a little bit better than in the dry. Sometimes I have to just push the car a little too hard in the dry, and here I was just cranking out laps, and I was basically a second off my best time every lap, and just doing the same lap for 20, 30 laps, just robotically.
Well, great job to you out there. Great win. And next week, we are at Vegas. So how do you feel about Vegas?
Don't know. Never driven it. We'll see how that works out.
We'll see how that works out for sure. But great job to you out there. Go ahead and celebrate tonight.
Thank you.
All right, RC. We have second, which is Polish Hammer. Let's go ahead and give him an interview.
Polish, a great finish, even with the 9 seconds penalties from Mayer, starting in P6. Take me through the race, and of course, turn 3 with your teammate.
Well, I had an okay start. I had to get past Jacob. I always like racing around Jacob. He always races me clean. So that was a fun battle. Then it was just trying to get caught up to the top 4 at that point. And then, the virtuals and obviously the real safety car helped me out a little. And then I decided I was going to go ahead and pit for fresher tires because I knew that Z was not going to pit because he had said so. He was going to stay out the whole time, so I knew I could probably make that time up if I pit. I'm not happy. Yeah. That's all I can say. I tried to get
The good news is Jens got some points out of it. That's the good news. And he finished 6th. I know the game glitched out, but
yeah, it's just, it sucks, dude, when you had a guaranteed double podium and just it's crazy stuff like that happens. It's part of racing. Basically what happened was I just got in the corner a little too hot. And we were just too close. I had way fresher tires. So whenever I tried to get on the brakes, I couldn't quick enough, and it just got me right into him, and it was so wet he was never saving it. So I'm glad he didn't DNF. That, saved disaster, but still doesn't feel great.
another race in, this one under the rainy conditions. I won't be necessarily looking for rain for the next week, which is going to be Las Vegas. Your thoughts for SnB's first race at Vegas?
When I first raced Vegas, I was kind of not that good at it, but the last couple of races I've had at Vegas, I've actually done kind of well. So I'm curious to see what's gonna happen. I think I should be able to run well there as long as it doesn't rain. I don't think it'll rain in Vegas though.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. But a great race from you today in Canada. Wish it was a little bit different for Team Williams, unfortunately, with that incident in turn 3. But I know Williams will be able to rebound from that little accident, and hopefully we'll see us in the top 3.
For sure. And before I'm done, special shout out to Chris, P4. That's a W right there.
Indeed. Well, great race. Frozen, on to P3.
All right, Mayor of Bag City, you had a great race tonight. Unfortunately, the penalties were happening all throughout the field, and unfortunately to you also. How was your race? Take us through, and how did the rain affect you?
Oh man, the rain made me terrible. I still felt I was the second fastest out there today, especially with my strategy, but I was just too inconsistent. I lost so much time behind Z on multiple occasions, just being on a different strat and not passing the right ways, getting too loose in the slow speed stuff. So I threw away so much time that it wouldn't even made a difference on my 9 seconds had I actually been smooth and fast today. But I'll still take a P3. I think on P3, even if the Williams don't get into each other, I was 5.5 seconds ahead um, of Polish there at the end. Z had way more worn tires, plus he had a 3 second, so I think I would have been able to get that extra half second once Polish eventually got through. So I still think P3 would have been the result no matter what happened between the two of them, so I'm really happy with that. Just too many little mistakes, missing corners by, centimeters, so the game gives me warnings, and just too much of that, and too much of not just overdriving corner entry too much, and just behind slow cars, and just throwing off too much lap time. I threw away seconds and seconds and seconds on that today that should have made P2 super comfortable for me. So not a great rain racer, so anytime I'm on the podium feels good. And then my teammates right behind me in fourth, 27 total points for Ferrari is always good to see. Keeps us in P2, puts me back in P2 in the drivers. So overall, really good day for me and the team. Qualified third, finished third, can never be mad about that. So it's just something good to build on going into next week.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. I was going to ask you about the points. I know that's going to put you up into second. I mean, you and Kerr very close in points at a 130 versus 127. So tonight's performance will put you up into P2. And like you said, a great team effort. So that's going to definitely help out the constructor standings. But 2 wins so far this season. Do you think you can get a third one at Vegas?
I mean, Vegas is the type of track that bodes well for me. Like, my 2 wins are on street circuits, kind of. Well, I won on one street circuit, and the other win was a track that we've never been to before. So Ferrari didn't have, he wasn't used to the track as much, so it made him, regress back to us. So combination of street circuit and a track we've never been to, maybe it'll play into my hands. We'll see. I would like to make it a third, but I'm not expecting that. At this point, we're fighting for seconds and thirds, and just trying to continue to stack points for second in both championships. I think that's the realistic ceiling for the season for the team this year. So we're going to fight for it. We're going to work for it. I'm going to put in the time this week to hopefully put myself in an opportunity to be racing for the win, but I'm not going to guarantee it or nothing like that. I think it's still Ferrari's race to lose, and I just need to be there with 3 to go in his wake, make him nervous, maybe make a pass on the last DRS straight, and anything's possible. So I think it'll be a fun, exciting race. I think it's going to keep us on top of each other a lot of the race, and it should be really interesting to see kind of how everybody plays it setup-wise, aero-wise, and what everybody brings to the table next week. But I do think that'll be must-watch streaming next week. I think it's going to be a really competitive, fast race since none of us has ever been there. It should look a lot like Qatar, where we were kind of the top 4, kind of all on top of each other. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a lot of the same. So I am looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll put this dancing pony back on the podium.
All right. Well, we are looking forward to it also. You guys heard it there. Next week, be sure to tune in. We're headed to Vegas. It is going to be next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Oh, I cannot wait to get through this. Rogue was going to be our prediction for the most penalties. I hate to see it. He knows I chose him as one of them. Z46 was the other, along with Rattly Bacon, who unfortunately did not get to finish. But I believe Maddie is the one who completed that prediction correctly. So congrats to her.
Ugh, whatever.
But yes, we will see you guys next week. Same time, same day. Thank you so much for everything. We'll see you next week.